so my seams are all sewn up. So now we've got sleeves, and basically you can wear this. So we just have the finishing touches we're going to do now. And just a little something I want you to see about the way we've sewn this in and with the color, which I'm very excited about, is if you kind of look at the seam of your sleeve, if you matched your stitches up nicely, your colors should come nicely in together like that in a V shape. And I'm very, very happy with how that came out, okay? So now for me, is always the funnest part of a big project like this, is working on the finishing touches. So I'm going to start off first working on the collar here. Very simple. We're going to do a finishing round. You might want to do several rounds depending on how thick you want your collar to be. So I'm going to start you off with the first round. We'll see how that goes. And then later we're going to work the cuffs of the sleeves and the trim on the bottom exactly the same way. And actually, you don't even need to do an extra trim. If you want to keep yours really simple just like that, then you are good to go. I think I mentioned previously you can make your sleeve much longer just using the single crochets, and you're done, because this edge is actually quite nice as well. Okay, let's talk about our collar. So what we want to do, in this case, I have just a little bit left of our original cream color. So I'm going to use this as kind of a way to anchor the collar portion. And then later on, I have tons of this. I have lots of the gray left, and I've got quite a bit left in this second cake of the mocha as well. So we'll talk about that later. So right now, this is all I have left of the cream. So I'm going to save that for the collar. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work over. Now at this point, my pullover is right side out. So it is facing the proper way. And I'm going to start stitching it up from the back. In fact, I'm going to start stitching it up pretty close to where that center seam was, where we attached the two pieces, okay? So here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take my yarn, and I want to place a slip knot on my hook. Now remember, we talked about using a much smaller hook. This is where it's going to come into play now. So this is my 3.75 millimeter hook. You can use a 4 millimeter if you want, or a 3.5 depending on the gauge that you'd like. So I've got the back end of my collar, and this is the spine there where the two panels meet. So it doesn't really matter where, but I'm just going to stick my hook in just a little bit offset there. Just slip stitch to join, just like that. Okay, and you can work, I'm going to work over my tail. If it's confusing for you, as always, you can just weave those in later. Now I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to work half double crochet stitches now. So right back into where I slip stitched, I'm going to work a half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over first and then pull up. So I have 3 loops and, whoops, watch out for that tail there, and pull through all 3. Now here's what's going to be a little bit interesting for this round. Because our neck opening is so wide, and of course I did that on purpose because I want it to fall over the shoulder, we do need to kind of control it a little bit. It is super wide. So we're going to kind of cushion this in a little bit, so to speak. So we are now basically working into the sides of all of our rows that we worked previously. And what we're going to do is we're going to work into the side of every second row. So when I yarn over, instead of going into this very next row here, I'm going to go into the following one. So I'm going to go into there. And I'm going to half double crochet. Okay, so this is going to snug in our opening a little bit more. So I'm going to do that again. Skip the next row, and into the following row, I'm going to half double crochet. And this is the beautiful thing about working into single crochet stitches, or work that has used single crochets. It's just really easy to go right into the space it creates. Okay, so yarn over, skip the next row, and into the following row, we work a half double crochet. And again, skip this one and into the next one. So it's giving us a nicely finished edge, but it's also now kind of controlling the wild floppiness of the opening of our collar, okay? So you're gonna go ahead and do that for a little, it will take you a little while because our opening is quite large, okay? So again, gonna hang out, watch your favorite Netflix show or YouTube crochet channel maybe. And you're gonna do that all the way around, okay? So you're always doing every second row. And actually what I'll probably do is I'm going to meet up with you once you hit this first corner, because now we'll be working into the sides of decreases, and it just might be a little tricky to see. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through it. I'm sure you guys will be fine, but I'll just give you a quick little go through with that. So finish up until you get to your first little kind of crease here, and I'll meet up with you in a moment. So pause the video and I'll meet you back here shortly. Okay, so I've come to my very first crease here, and as you can see so far, the half double crochet stitch is creating a really nice finishing edge, and it's just kind of snuggling things in. It's very subtle, okay? Now what I'm going to do here in the crease here, I'm going to do a proper decrease stitch just to kind of keep the kind of the work looking nice and smooth as we come around the bend here, so to speak. So this is the crease where the back panel meets the front panel, and we're going down into the V-neck. So you can see these are where the decrease stitches are. So they'll look a little bit elongated. So I didn't want you guys to stress about that. So this was my last stitch. Now I'm going to go right into the corner here. This is right where the panels meet. So I'm going to insert my hook there, pull up a loop, but I'm not going to resolve it. I'm going to go right away into the very next stitch beside it, and you can see it's elongated there. That's where we did the decrease. And we'll just pull up another loop. So now you have 4 loops, and now I'm going to resolve the whole thing by pulling it through all of them, okay? And what that does, it just snuggles the back panel to the front panel, and it makes it just a little bit more of a smoother transition, okay? Probably can't tell right now, it's too close, but once you put your work down, it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so now you're just working down the first part of your V-neck. So see, it's going to dip down there. And you're just going to continue on as you were before. So you'll yarn over. Now these stitches are a little bit longer, so I'm going to go right away into the very next stitch and half double crochet. And then the very next stitch below. So we're not going to need to actually skip any stitches because of the nature of the decrease here. Okay, so just pull it through. Okay, so you can see it's just creating a nice little finished edge. So you're going to go into, so see how these stitches seam? Hopefully you can see that. I know the focus isn't the greatest. These stitches seem just slightly longer, yeah? So they leave a little bit of a bigger gap. So we're going to go into every one of these, and we're going to half double crochet. Okay, so I just take that out just to show you guys where we've come around. So now you can see it's nicely finished, and it gently curves around the top there and continues down. Okay, so that's pretty much it for your collar round 1. So when you're going down the V part, you're just going to go 1 into every single one of these elongated stitches. When you get to that dip here, you will do a decrease just like we did at the top of the seam. Again, this just makes it much smoother when you transition. Then you're going to continue doing a half double crochet into each of the decrease stitches along the side. And then you're going to do the actual decrease in the seam. And then you're going to go back to doing a half double crochet into every second row, because this is now the back panel. You're going to do that all the way until you get to the very beginning. And then I'm going to meet back up with you here. And I'm just doing my last half double crochet here. And now I'm going to slip stitch to join my round. So round 1 is half double crochets. Okay, so when I pull that out, so now my edging or my neckline has a much more finished look to it. Okay, so you have something that looks like this. My top is upside down at the moment. Okay, now for me, this opening is still way too wide, so I am going to do a ribbed finishing round. And so we're going to use front post crochet. So we're going to use front post and back post double crochets. So I'm going to keep it the same as what we're going to do in the cuffs and the bottom. Okay. The difference here with the collar is I am going to do a few decreases along these seams here. So I'm going to get us started, and I will do this for a few rows, but I'm going to get you going, and then you can decide how many rounds, sorry, I said rows, how many rounds you deem appropriate. So we're going to begin by chaining 3. And now we've got actual stitches to work into, not the sides of stitches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to just insert my hook right in there. So I want to go into the very first stitch. I want to work around this post, just like that. So we push it forward. That's why we call it a forward double crochet. Now pull up a loop, and I'll resolve the double crochet as usual. Pull through 2 and pull through 2. Okay, so right now you have something that looks like that. Now into the next post, or around the next post, so we're working into the post, not the stitches. So we're not working in the top. We're going to work a back double crochet. So we're going to go in through the back and push that post to the back. Pull up a loop. Be careful not to pull on all your loops there. And then resolve a double crochet as usual. So the first one you can see here, we worked around the front. The next one we worked around the back. And that's what we're going to do all the way around the collar. We're going to alternate front, back, front, back. So the next one will be around the post here, pushing it to the front, so they're a little bit easier to see now that we're away from the seam. And double crochet. Next one is through the back, pushing that to the back, and double crochet. So now you can see a little bit of that alternating action. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do that all the way until you hit the crease here. And this is where we're going to do some decreases. We're just going to do that to bring our neckline, to bring the shaping a little bit up more towards the neck, just so that it comes a little bit more over the shoulder, because this is quite a wide collar. And even though I want it to be loose and slouchy, I want it to have some structure so that it can sit at least nicely on one shoulder. So do your alternating front and back, and I'll meet you back here at the crease. Okay guys, so I'm now down at my V. So there are my alternating front post and back post. The first round, it's still not going to look like much, okay? So I'm just down at the bottom of the V here, and like I did at the seam, I have 3 stitches I'm going to stitch together. So I just finished doing a front post. So I'm going to go in through the back here of this one, and I'm going to start that double crochet. And I'm not going to resolve the rest. Now I'm going to go into the front post. This is basically the middle. This is right at the point of my V. Okay, pull through. And now same thing on the next one, I'm going to do a back post. So 3 stitches together. Okay, just like that. Whoops. Pull through 2 first. I've got 4 loops. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 stitches. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of them. You should be able to see how these 3 stitches are coming together. So since that one was a back post, my very next one is a front post. And then the next one is a back post. So you get the gist now. So that when you get up to the shoulder seam again, you're going to do the exact same thing. So we're decreasing in 3 points, and a 1 at each shoulder and then 1 at the bottom. So let me just pull this out here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so we've done our alternating posts. You can see a little bit of the effect there. We did a decrease up here. We came down to the V, did another decrease. And now you're going to make your way back up and do another decrease here on the top and come right back up to the beginning. You will slip stitch to join. I'm most likely going to do one more decrease here in this round just to kind of snuggle it in. And then you'll be off to the races to just keep repeating this for as many rounds as you like. So finish off this round and I'll meet back up with you at the back seam. And I'm coming up to my last stitch to do a front post double crochet, which is perfect because there's my chain 3. So I'm going to find the top of the chain 3 and I'm going to slip stitch to join my round. So that is the first round of alternating front and back post. And now for any subsequent rounds, it's super easy. You're just going to front post where you see a front post and back post where you see a back post. And that's what gives you that really cool ribbed effect. So anytime you begin a new round here, you're going to chain 3. And so that's a chain 3. So I move on to here. So the first stitch I see is a front post. So I front post around that. Front post double crochet. And now the next one is a back post, so I'm going to back post double crochet. Okay. And then the next one is a front post, so I front post. So much easier now to just follow the texture you see. And the next one is the back post. So this will continue to alternate all the way around. And then as you get close to your seams, you're going to do the typical decreases. So see, this is already the next round. And if I pull back a little further away, see now the ribs are becoming much more pronounced. So I'm going to do a total of 6 rounds of the alternating back and forth double crochet front and back post. I'm not counting the round of half double crochets. That was just an establishing round. You may want to do more. You may end up wanting to do less. So I'm going to leave that up to you. You're going to gauge how you see fit. And it will also kind of depend on how you like the look of your opening. Okay, so you are off to finish your neck opening. And then I'll meet back up with you at the end. And then we can talk about the other finishing touches like your cuffs and the bottom trim of your top, which is it's going to be the exact same technique as we did here. So I'll see you back here soon. Okay, so I have finally finished my collar and I did my 6 rounds. Now you'll notice here that I finally did run out of the cream, so I topped it off with that mocha color, which actually I really like because it's going to tie in when I do the bottom trim, which I've decided I am going to do in that mocha color. So it also has nipped in the collar a little bit closer than I originally anticipated, but I'm still really happy with it. When I put it on, it's still quite wide, and it has this really pretty kind of just a subtle dip down. And so this happened because when we did that first initial round of half double crochets, we went into every second row. So we already knew it was going to cinch it in. And then with the decreases on each side, actually it worked out really, really nice. I am actually very, very happy with that. So we've got our neckline done. And now next what we're going to do is the absolute final touch, which will be the exact same thing, is we're going to be doing the cuffs. And you can see I've already done this one here, and I'm so happy with how it came out. Just gives it this beautiful stretchy feel. And it's exactly what we did in the neckline using front posts and back post double crochets. And it'll probably be a little bit easier because there aren't any creases or dips to go into. I'll just quickly start you on this. It's the exact same thing, so I'm not going to go too intensely into it, but you're going to do the same thing for the sleeves. So I'll start you guys with the other sleeve, and then you're going to do the exact same thing for your bottom trim. So in this case, I've decided to continue the gray. So that's what I'm using for the cuffs. And what I'm going to do for the bottom is to tie in all the colors is that I'm going to use the mocha color from the side for the bottom trim, which will be a perfect tie-in to the last 2 rows I did up at the top. So I have in the 2 cakes, I've officially used up all the cream yarn, which I'm really happy about. It used it right till the end. I've got a lot of the gray still left over in the second cake. And then I've got a good chunk of the mocha left. So you could probably even do another project with some of this gray. So definitely needed 2 cakes. And I'm very happy with the way things have turned out. So I'm going to quickly get you started on your cuffs. And then you're off to finish off your final finishing touches. And then your Evening Breeze Pullover sweater is complete. Okay, so we're going to start with our cuff. And what I like to do is I like to start kind of close to where I seamed things up. So I'm just going to kind of open that up there so you can see that is where we seamed. And I'm going to insert my hook somewhere around here. So most likely I'm just going to start to the left of the seam. So I'm going to start off with some of this gray that I had left over from the first cake. And I always get excited when I use up everything. There's nothing worse than having scraps left over and then trying to come up with what projects you're going to do with it. Okay, so we're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to attach our yarn by placing our hook in there, just to the left of the seam. And I'm going to slip stitch to join my yarn. Just like that. Okay, now the first round, what we're going to do is we're going to do a round of double crochet stitches. And like we did in the collar, that's what's going to create this beautiful ribbed effect once we work the front and the back post double crochets. Now, our sleeve currently has 50 stitches. We are going to do 1 decrease just at the very beginning. And we want to bring our stitch count to 48. It's not dramatic, but it's just enough that it's just going to create a little bit more of a snug fit around our cuff there. So we're going to begin by chaining 2. Okay. And then we're going to go right back into the same stitch and we're going to begin a double crochet. So the chain 2 is not really going to count. It's just to help me get a little bit of height. And so I'm just going to insert my hook and begin a double crochet. I'm just working over my tail there. We'll pull through the first 2 loops and we will not resolve. I'm now going to go into the very next stitch and begin a double crochet again and pull through and only pull through the first 2. Okay, so I've got these 2 I've got these 2 double crochets that are unresolved. I'm now going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So the goal is here. I did the first decrease right at the kind of seam line. My next decrease I want to happen roughly right about there. And that's just going to make the decrease sit a little bit more evenly. It's not a huge deal, so you can count, because we have 50 stitches, you can count once you hit stitch 25, you can decrease stitch 25 and 26 together. If you're not big on counting, you can just simply fold it like that, and you can see that's where the next crease is. Put a stitch marker in there, and you're good to go for your decrease, okay? So very, very straightforward. Only 1 more decrease on the other side. Other than that, you're simply just going to place 1 double crochet now into each stitch. Really, really simple. Okay, and I'm just slip stitching to join my first round, and I have my 48 stitches, and you can't really tell. You can see it's kind of coming in a wee bit there, but that's what it looks like. So you've got longer stitches compared to your single crochets. The technique is going to be the same thing we did for your neck opening. The difference is you do not have to worry about any more decreases, okay? Now what I'm going to do, because these were stitched together, it's going to create too much of a gap. So I'm going to slip stitch again just over to this next one here. And it's just going to really kind of bunch in that decrease very nicely, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I am going to chain 3, okay? And now I'm going to start with a front post double crochet. So I'm going to just pick up that post and double crochet there, okay? Now when you come back around, these are going to feel like they're really, really thick. If it makes you feel comfortable, you can work a regular double crochet right into here. Ignore that chain 3, and that will bring this much closer together. So this first row is going to feel a little bit funny. In fact, once I set you loose, I will come back and meet up with you when you're here just to guide you through it. But for now, you know the drill. It's front post and then back post. Oops. Okay, just like that. You're going to keep alternating. Front post, and then you're going to go in from behind. Whoops, be careful there. And back post. Okay, just like that. Okay, pause the video, finish your first posted round, and I'm just going to meet back up with you here just to kind of guide you through how to close this little gap at the end. Okay guys, so I'm just doing my last front post double crochet right here. And then we're going to come up to where we did that very first decrease. So normally what I would say is slip stitch to the top of your chain 3, but see how because we bunched these together, it's going to create a bit of a gap. So what I recommend is actually just working a regular double crochet right around the same area where you slip stitched originally. And we'll just ignore the chain 3. And then you will slip stitch to the top of that first front post double crochet. Just like that. See? So now it kind of closed it in nicely. So now anytime you start a new round, you will do your chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then now you'll just now know where all your front posts and your back posts are. So this was a front post, so you front post around a front post. Double crochet, that is. And then you back post around a back post. So you should know this drill very well by now. Just like that. And then when you come back around here, you front post, and then you will slip stitch to the top of your chain 3, chain 3, and then begin again. So your chain 3 will now be your back post, so to speak, okay? And that's it. So you're very familiar with this technique, so you can see it's already starting to create that beautiful little ridge effect. So for my cuff, I did a total of 10 rounds. This does include the very first round of regular double crochets. So my cuff actually sits like it kind of comes over a little bit down into my hand, which is what I wanted. I want it to kind of feel a little bit slouchy at the bottom. If you like yours to sit a little bit higher on the wrist, then you would do less rounds. You may want to do more rounds. So as always, when you're customizing these things to you, try it on as you go. But I did 10 rounds for my cuff, and I plan on doing 10 rounds for the bottom of my top. And again, I may do more depending on the look that is evolving, and so might you, okay? Or you might do less. So now is the moment of truth, the grand finale. You're gonna pause this video, maybe put on your favorite YouTube show or Netflix show, and you're gonna go to town creating your ribbed cuff and bottom trim. And then I'll meet back up with you for the final reveal. And voila, I have finished the bottom trim. I did 10 rows just like I did in my sleeve. And here is the final product, the Evening Breeze Pullover sweater. And I just love how it all came out. And it will look beautiful over a nice pair of jeans, nice and easy. And it will look absolutely gorgeous with very casual wear or a nice pair of jeans. And I just love how it sits. Now, I originally envisioned this being longer, to be honest, but once I started doing the ribbing and snuggling it in, it did rise up a wee bit, but I actually really, really loved how it came out. So here it is, and you can see how it sits really nicely. It's got this beautiful sleeve detail, which I love, and along the collar here just came in. Again, the collar also came in a little bit more snugly than I originally had envisioned, but again, a beautiful accident, I guess you could say. And I just love how the colorways worked out and they blended so nicely one into the other. And all in all, super happy with how the Evening Breeze Pullover came out. Perfect for those cool nights on the beach when we take a nice long walk, especially for those that are, you know, a little closer to the end of the summer as we head slowly towards Labor Day. So I hope you all have enjoyed this intense crochet journey with me. I know this project is probably took you a little bit longer just simply because of the fineness of the yarn and the fact that we simply used single crochet stitches. So it did take a little bit longer to work up, but wow, so worth the effort. And I am sure you are going to get tons of compliments on your pullover. I already have. In fact, I get people asking me where I bought it, and they're always so floored when I say I made it. So again, it's just a great way that you can show off your skill, and it's always fun and exciting to wear something that you've made. So enjoy your pullover top, enjoy the process, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave me a comment in the comment box down below, or you can always get in touch with me directly at info@crochetcrafty.com. And you can always find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Stitch Sessions. And if you are new here, if this is your first time, press that subscribe button. Come hang out with me every week on Wednesday as I upload a new tutorial. And the first Wednesday of every month is when I upload each segment in our 2021 crochet series, which is Life's a Beach. Now, if you like this type of content, like more clothing, crochet clothing, or even beach-oriented type of crochet or summer crochet, please do leave me a thumbs up, and that lets me know that I'm staying on the right track, and also leave me a comment. And that way, I will keep cultivating the type of projects that you guys are interested in. All right, have an amazing day. Happy crocheting, enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you guys in the next session. Take care.